Blessings and welcome to the path to freedom, this beautiful journey that we are on, this roller coaster ride where we get to cultivate a life that serves, that supports the eternal expansion, the eternal unfolding, the growth that we are participating in, that we get to participate in. It's like that beautiful saying, all are called, but few chooses to answer the call. So even though we're all being called to consciously participate in the unfolding of our own lives, in the unfolding of our own souls, not all of us are heeding that call. Not all of us are choosing this call. But if you're tuning into this, and especially if you're tuning in on a regular basis, then absolutely we are answering that call. So my name is Daniel Roquillo, and I'm very grateful that you are answering this call. I'm very grateful that you're choosing to be on this path, that you're choosing to do this work. I'm grateful for your willingness, for your courage to continuously over and over and over again release and let go of who you used to be, or who we used to be, so that the next iteration, the next great and grand version of who and what we are may emerge. Thus, us being of heavenly good here on this planet, thus us being beneficial presences, beneficial beings here on this planet, assisting in the midwifing of the next iteration of humanity, assisting in the evolution of the collective human consciousness, which is what is happening right now here on this planet, which is why so many things are coming to the surface. There is so much turbulence, there is so much going on the planet. And as things are going on, individually and collectively, the work that we get to do, so we're all participating, right? We're all, those of us who are on this path, we are consciously participating in the unfolding. And what it means to consciously participate, it doesn't mean that we need to make anything happen. We're not being called to create anything. We're not being called to make the manifestation, the next iteration of ourselves to happen, any more than the caterpillar is making the butterfly happen, any more than a seed planted in nature is making the whatever tree or plant or flower happen, any more than the sun is making itself shine, any more than the ocean is making itself wet. There's a participation, there's a joint participation. And the way we participate is by reclaiming our minds, is by reclaiming our sanity, by turning our attention, exercising mastery over our mind so that we stay in a high vibration, exercising mastery over our mind so that we stay in joy, so that we stay in harmony, so that we stay in wholeness, so that we stay in health, so that we stay in abundance, so that we stay in love, in peace, regardless of the conditions and circumstances. Regardless of the conditions and circumstances. And I'm saying this to say that as we're moving through stuff, as we're being moved through stuff, there's a divine pattern happening. There's a divine design, a divine orchestration. Not a predetermined path for us to walk, but a divine design according to whatever possibility, whatever vision, whatever intention, whatever dream we have for ourselves, have said yes to and are moving toward. So it's like let me see if I can bring this into a coherent analogy. I recently heard that our lives are like a movie. So to offer a higher vantage point. So in the infinite mind, every single possibility exists, which means that there's no predetermination to our lives. There's no predestination. But we have been given the free will so that we may consciously participate so that we may make conscious choices, and every single choice that we make moves us in a direction in a direction toward one possibility. Every single choice we make is us saying yes to something, us saying no to something else. So every choice that we make, by virtue of making that choice, we're moving in a particular direction. And as we are moving in alignment, as we are moving toward a particular intention or vision or dream, the unfolding of that intention, vision, dream is divinely designed, divinely orchestrated. So this benevolent, loving presence that is all there is, it knows exactly what needs to happen, how it needs to happen, and when it needs to happen for the highest possibility, for any possibility to come into fruition, to come into manifestation. And as we're moving toward a particular condition, as we're moving toward a particular possibility, we're being guided and moved and led, source truth funded, right? So all this to say that as we're moving through stuff and the challenges that we are being moved through, they are not God against us. We're not being punished. We're not being punished. We're not being tested. But we are being prepared. Because all the expansion that is happening, as we grow, as we expand, as we unfold, all of that is happening when we release and let go of something that is no longer serving us, that is no longer a vibrational match to the intention, to the vision, to the dream that we're moving toward. So all of the expansion is about us releasing and letting go of something. And so as we're being moved through our challenges, that is spirit, this benevolent, loving presence, God, the universe, life, energy, whatever we want to call it, that is it pointing us to what it is that we need to release and let go of. Pointing us to the small and the limited that we are holding on to. Fears, worries, doubts, a sense of not being enough, a sense of not having enough, a sense of separation, right? So as we're moving through our things, our stuff, our challenges, we absolutely need to raise our gaze to not get bogged down in the current conditions and circumstances, because these are not eternal. These are not infinite. They are passing. They are transient. It's just something that we're being moved through. So to allow for the next iteration of who and what we are. If we're trying to save our littleness, if we're trying to stay the same, nothing is ever going to change. But we need to surrender to, we need to trust that we're always being guided and moved and led. We need to trust that something wonderful is always happening, that all is well, that everything's working for our highest good. And from that, we need to raise our gaze, even when we're moving through challenges, raise our gaze to have our attention locked on to what we are becoming, to the intention that we're moving toward, to the goal, the dream, the vision that we're moving toward the good that we wish to experience. Because this universe is lawful. It is love and it is law. It corresponds to wherever we turn our attention to the most. And so as we're moving through our challenges, complaining, bemoaning, whining, taking on the victim part, or playing the victim part, taking on the victim, donning the victim suit, as we allow our conditions and circumstances, especially those that are not to our liking, as we allow them to dictate where we turn our attention, as we allow them, as we give them power to determine what we talk about, what we think about, what we feel about the most, the only thing that is ever going to happen is us sustaining, perpetuating these conditions and circumstances. So what we need to do And we're always wise to do the inner work of keeping alive and active the vision, the intention, the dream that we're moving toward, the highest possibility for us in our lives. To use our moments in between to reimagine, to revisit, to remind ourselves of what it is that we wish to experience, right? So that it is kept alive and active, so that it is being encoded onto our subconscious mind. In this moment, I'm reminded that we are invited to have a moment of resetting, to have a moment of coming back to the nowness of this moment, to take a couple of deep, conscious breaths, putting a smile on our face, breathing in, and releasing. Another deep breath in. And releasing. So this is the work. This is the work. When we become aware that we are being hijacked, that we have been hijacked, that we have been held hostage by victimhood, by complaining, bemoaning, whining, fear, worry, doubt, we're to come back to the breath, take a couple of deep, conscious breaths, allowing for a sense of attachment, not a sense of attachment, allowing for a space of non-attachment, a space of non-identification, a space of witnessing and observing the thought forms to emerge. And then raise our gaze above and beyond the conditions, whatever it is that we were complaining about, whining about, to raise our gaze toward the vision, the intention, the dream that we're moving toward, to raise our gaze, to articulate, to re-articulate, to reinvigorate, to reimagine the good that we wish to experience. It doesn't matter if we are in whatever conditions and circumstances we're in. Whatever we turn our attention to the most, when we turn our attention to the good that we wish to experience more than we're turning our attention to what we don't wish to experience, we're consciously, actively participating in the manifestation of that good. When we turn our attention toward the good that we don't wish to experience, to whatever it is that we don't wish to experience, we're actively, consciously, maybe not so consciously, but actively participating in the manifestation, the sustaining, the perpetuation of that non-good that we don't wish to experience. So we need to do the work. We need to stay alert. We need to stay vigilant. We need to stay in high vibration. We need to stay our attention on what it is that we wish to experience. Even when we're moving through spaces of what we don't wish to experience. Someone recently texted me sharing their experience. And in their sharing, there was a whole lot about challenges and things that were not going as they wanted them to go, and things that were not to their liking, and they went on and on and on. And my response was kind of abrupt, but it was very clear. And so I had only one question, and that was, what is that you wish to experience? What is the good that you want to experience? And that allowed them to turn their attention away from their conditions and circumstances toward raising their gaze, raising their perspective, allowing themselves to move onto a higher vantage point, to take on a higher perspective, and remind themselves of the good that they wished to experience. And once they began to articulate and describe that, they were able to make choices, moving them in the direction of that good. As long as we're bogged down in what we don't wish to experience, all we're doing is going around in circles, reacting to that non-good, to this current present conditions and circumstances. But it's like that beautiful analogy that sometimes flows through me about us getting into a cab. Let's say that we arrive at an airport in a city or a place that we've never been before, and we get out of the airport, we check out our luggage and all of that, and we get into a cab that is waiting outside the airport, and the cab driver asks us, hey, obviously, hi, how you doing? Hey, how are you doing? And they ask us, so where to? Where do you want to go? And if we, sitting in the back seat, if we keep telling the cab driver of all the places that we don't want to go, I don't want to see this, and I don't want to go there, and I don't want to experience that. As long as that's our conversation, the cab driver is not going to go anywhere. And he might come to they're obviously going to keep asking the question, but sir or ma'am, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Where do you want me to drive you? But if we keep insisting on telling the cab driver of all the things that we don't want to experience, there will come a point where the cab driver either will ask us to leave the cab, to get out of the car so that they can invite someone in who actually require or receive their service, or they will just take off with us in the back seat and they'll go wherever they want to go. And these sacred laws, they are the same. So life, we need to be very intentional. What is the topic for this particular? Right, because I was catching another. So the topic is we need to raise our gaze above our conditions and circumstances. I was actually catching another topic just before this about how we need to be very intentional in life. And that is exactly so. We need to be very intentional in life. We need to be able to articulate very clearly, very detailed, our intentions, our visions, our dreams, whatever it is that we're moving toward, the good that we wish to experience. Because if we're not able to articulate and describe that, we're not going to be able to navigate in that direction. Just like a plane, never mind. But so when we're moving through our challenges, yes, absolutely, we want to acknowledge that we're moving through challenges. We want to acknowledge the experiences that we are having. We do not want to deny whatever it is that we're feeling, the stories, the beliefs, the mental constructs that are flowing through our awareness. We do not want to deny any of that. But from becoming aware, from witnessing and observing, from embracing and allowing ourselves to be where we are, from things to being what they are, not resisting, not denying, not trying to get away from or run away from, but embracing and allowing it, we need to raise our gaze to turn our attention toward the good that we wish to experience, so that we may give this, whatever, permission to guide and lead and move us. If we are in a condition of lack and scarcity, for instance, and we want to experience abundance, us turning our attention toward lack and scarcity is not going to do any good. Us turning our attention toward abundance, asking ourselves, how can I move in the direction of abundance? What within me do I need to release and let go of for the feeling tone of abundance to emerge from within? Because we're wise to not go for the specific outcomes, but rather go for the qualities, the divine qualities: peace, love, joy, harmony, wholeness, abundance, beauty. health, obviously. So we need to know what it is that we wish to experience so that we can give it permission to guide and lead and move us, inform our steps, right? So we need to raise our gaze above the conditions and circumstances from whatever it is that we don't wish to experience, however real it may seem, toward the good that we wish to experience, toward our visions, intentions, dreams. Cool. I mean, isn't this just absolutely amazing? Isn't this just absolutely wonderful to be on a path where we get to set ourselves free in this way, where we get to set ourselves free to be in conditions, to be in circumstances, to be in the world, but not be of the world, but be of a higher frequency, of a higher vibration. I don't know about you, but I love being on this path. I love being on this path. And so in this now moment, let us take another couple of deep conscious breaths. Putting a smile on our face, breathing in. And releasing. Another smile. I was gonna say another deep breath in. Breathing out. I mean, if we want to smile, that's cool. Smiling is a beautiful healing agent. Healing agent. So the invitation for today is for us to re-articulate, to move into our prayer journals or our journals, and to reimagine, rekindle our visions, our dreams, our intentions, to make them more alive and active within ourselves, to articulate them, to describe them with detail to the best of our ability, and questions too, so that we know what it is that we're raising our gaze toward whenever we find ourselves in a funk or in a victim mode or complaining, bemoaning, whining, regurgitating. What is the good that we wish to experience? That is actually the question to augment and support this invitation. What is the good that we wish to experience? What is our heart's desire? What is the highest possibility for me and my life? And asking these on a regular basis, I mean, asking these on every single day, whenever we go to the bathroom, instead of just sitting there or standing there, why not have a moment of reinvigorating our intentions, visions, dreams, of making them alive and active within ourselves? What if we every single day, when we went to the bathroom, had a moment, a minute, a couple of minutes of engaging ourselves, entertaining, telling the story to ourselves about our lives, the highest possibility for us in our lives? What would happen? Magic would happen. Not really magic, but it would seem like magic. It would seem like magic. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in, participating. Until we meet again, as always, I bless our days, and I bless our ways, in the full knowing that all is well, that something wonderful is happening, that everything is working for our highest good, with much love and many blessings.